afternoon, everyone. I don't have a polling question, but I do want to see a show of hands. How many of you have heard of Bloomberg Women's Buy-Side Network? Please raise your hands. All right, we've got 10. That's not bad. I think through the following conversation, I hope more of you will learn about it, because I'm joined by Eleanor, who's a founding member of this network about 6 years ago. So let's get right to it. Eleanor, how did Bloomberg Women's Buy-Side Network start?
Let me just start by thanking our host, Bloomberg. It is mind-blowing for me to be able to put on my BWBN hat today. And I've been asked to kind of share a little bit more about the network. And it's such a great opportunity to do that in this very pointed forum. Amara's law will remind us that we always overestimate what we can see in the short term, and we systematically underestimate what we can achieve in the long term. And this principle obviously does not just apply to innovation, but is very much still resonates with BWBN. And set against this backdrop where I think in the introduction they talked about, where the conversation is about tectonic shifts, I think it serves as a very timely contrast to really remind us that, we shouldn't overlook the profound effects that can come from really humble, small beginnings. And so BWBN actually really started just from the genuine intent of a couple of individuals. That's Virginie, Chunya, and myself. This was back in 2018. And it was this recognition that there wasn't a network of this kind anywhere for the buy side and also targeted at women. And so it was coming together, and that intent meeting what is, I think, ultimately the team, the communication, and the platform, which is Bloomberg. And that was the founding. And what you're looking at here is a bit of a flashback to when we launched it back in 2018 with the support of Chairman Peter. It was really humble, brings back really nice feelings. When V comes back to town, we still catch up.
Yeah, wonderful. So where is the network now?
I can't believe we're 12 chapters, and it started as an informal network. It still is, but today we really are global, right? And it's men and women, by the way. So please, at the end, I'll be asking all of you to take out your phones and then look on your LinkedIn and search BWBN and join us. But it is an informal network that involves men and women that want to get behind enabling the next generation of women on the buy side. It's as simple as that. We're obviously all within industry, and we recognize the power behind fostering, using networking, using mentorship, using sponsorship to really be a part of cultivating the next leadership in terms of nurturing, in terms of providing opportunity. So I think we started obviously very humble beginnings in Singapore, but then we went on, and then I think the next chapter was India, then Hong Kong, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, California, New York. We've gone to today, I think it's truly global. We've got South Africa, Europe, all around the world. So it's amazing to really see how far it's come. I think what we wanted to show you, and this is the picture that you're looking at, and I think pictures kind of speak 1,000 words in terms of capturing the faces and the people involved. So I always remember the launch of our India chapter, because I think we did it in Bloomberg's office via call to connect to the India chapter. But that team there really was very clear from the get-go that they wanted to use mentorship and really do that very pointedly. So from the beginning, this was 2019, they handpicked 20 individuals that were already in industry hypos that were mid-career and looking to use mentorship to help catalyze their careers. So it was very pointed, very specific, and it was really powerful from that perspective. And the firms that were involved were really some of the largest in India, Everstone, ICICI, SBI, UTI, Kotak. It was a broad spectrum. I really pick out 20 hypos and really using mentorship to spark that. So this is the picture of that event, of that selection of that 20 individuals, real faces, in 2020 actually. So this was BWN's first mentorship event.
Great. Yeah, so I just wanted to link back to today's theme as well, which is, talking about technology and AI. AI obviously has been adopted by a vast amount of industries to help improve efficiency. I want to talk about how, as a senior executive at Nikko Asset Management, how are you guys adopting AI in your investment process?
I think they quantify this opportunity at what is some $335 to $550 billion in size, right? And so, right behind high tech, financial services, a sense of benefit from AI in profound ways. So I think the difference is, compared to, I guess, the last wave where we really had to do something quite structural, which is on the sustainability space, I think there's been very little hesitance from, our talent pool to kind of embrace the opportunities and the efficiencies that come from that. I think there probably is a lag in terms of the enterprise embracing of it at this point of time compared to the personal usage. My sense is, a lot of us are using far more broadly and deeply in a personal capacity than actually in the enterprise side, and that is to change. So I think we're at a stage where experimenting in a very focused arenas, especially since, the usage in the very essence, I guess the front office of what it is that we do, like portfolio management, trading, risk management, in customizing of portfolios is profound. So we're at this stage where I think we're experimenting in very many different spheres, but in terms of broad, are we AI first? Are we right across the platform? We're not quite there yet. There's certainly there's no lack of shiny objects to look at, and we're looking at a lot of them, but quite practically, given the fact that our margins are getting compressed from every angle. In some ways we have to look at it, but in other ways then we have to be very careful in what we choose and how we take those initial steps. So that's a quick capture of where we're at. I just thought take the opportunity to kind of pivot back to BWBN because in part that's my job here today. And I just wanted to share that in terms of what BWBN stands for, it really convenes around global investment trends, right? We were very clear from the beginning. It was not like we were going to sit around and talk about, shall we say, women's issues. It was very much around thought leadership. And what you'll see is we've done quite a series of thought leadership. This is an example last year at the Bloomberg's Buy-Side Forum in Hong Kong, which incidentally was Bloomberg's 30th anniversary in Hong Kong. And this is the BWBN-led panel talking about, quite similarly, the topics of AI, wealth, and future fluent leadership. And it talked about, obviously the issues around, cross-border data governance, which is very much alive and something pertinent to today. And at that stage, we were also talking about the potential of AI, very close to the topic of to our hearts, which is around the improvement of access to financial education literacy for women and the ability to actually improve on the ability to do personalized products that are focused on women's needs. So that's just one example. Another example that you'll see coming up by way of photo is what we did for our 5th anniversary last year. And you'll see the faces of Virginie, Kazuki-san, Chang-Su, and Lakshmi coming up. And this was when we convened various chapters in Asia and Europe and we had some 200 university students come, and we shared on the topics of geopolitics, the Ukraine war, disruption to global supply chains, and really thinking about the implications to Asian investments, and quite specifically in China, to India, to Japan, right? So very much on topic today, and Virginia even spoke to digital Darwinism, the fittest and the best survive in technology. And then also earlier part of the year, we convened some of the biggest leads in sustainability investments in Singapore. So from Temasek, from GIC, from SGX talking about, and they had just all returned from COP27. And it was all talking about, obviously hot topic then was, carbon markets, carbon credits. So this just gives you a flavor of the spectrum of topics that are very sort of in the moment. I would say a lot of them still relevant today that we have discussed, and that's why I think it's worth your time to consider joining us. It's also not just been events and panels. We've actually put out, thought leadership papers. The one that comes to mind is Investing with Impact. I think that was in 2021, and that was calling for a rewiring of the whole thinking around ESG at the time. The next one, so watch this space, that's coming up is, I don't know if I can share this, but it's called Fast Forward, talking about the digital disruption, so watch out for that. Again, this is, at least for the first one, this was across 5 chapters, a dozen of us just contributed to making that white paper come into fashion. So that's just an example of how the network has really contributed in the thought leadership space.
It's really heartening to see all the women coming together to talk about topics that are so relevant and meaningful, and getting the mentorship from each other. So my understanding is women's buy-side network, they don't just offer thought leadership, there's also actual training and upscaling going on. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it's something really quite spectacular, I would say, because if you think about impact, and we could definitely do a whole lot better by way of measurement and being able to kind of tell stories around them, but we also wanted to kind of make it very real. So we have, for example, one of the earliest events we did was a collaboration with the NGO Junior Achievers, and we had really, and this is like deep stage, early COVID lockdown period, and we reached out to 120 students in the universities in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Japan. So Waseda University, Hong Kong University, here we had NTU, we had Temasek Polytechnic, and we came and we spoke to, obviously, the disruption was happening in the industry, and actually sharing careers and opportunities. There was the Next Gen Connect, which is the photo you just saw, and that one we collaborated with Tara and Gain, and right across Asia, Europe, Middle East. That one, I think we spoke to 600 students, and it was online, and 20 of us reached out, and I was saying over 48 countries, talking about investment outlook, talking about disruption in the industry. And from that, I recall we had a poll back then, and we found that of these 600 students, more than half of them were already investors themselves. 75% of them had allocations to stock. And I think most of them were looking for companies that really had technology as a key driver, and really companies that had, were investing with purpose. So I think it gives this sense of, really the change that's really happening and enabling people to come into the industry. And we talked about the broad spectrum of careers available in buy side. I mean, not that everybody has to be an investor and salesperson, right? And there are careers in between. So it was just spectacular from that perspective. And Lianting talked about, actually real skills in impact. So one of the things that we're very proud of, and we've done this in the Brazil chapter, we've done this in the Australian chapter, is that together in that partnership with Bloomberg, we rolled out and provided Python and BQuant training to 50 women at a time every year, right? And this is made available to women at all stages of Python, knowledge and experience, right? And so they went through, it's a 6-week program, it's online, and it's prepared by B-Quant specialists at Bloomberg, and and it's really something that is left really a great impact in terms of enabling real skills to people who are starting to mid-career stages, and that's something we're very proud of. I think in Australia, they also did something quite specific. In fact, I think it was co-branded with CFA, and they gave out 5 certificates in the CFA ESG investing program. So, in terms of really being quite focused in providing impact to individuals, but actually doing that with some global magnitude, I think it's something that was worthwhile profiling.
Excellent. There's so much to talk about the work that you guys are doing, and thanks for the passion and dedication to this. And for those that haven't joined this network, please do join or approach Eleanor after this conversation. I'm sure she can share with you a lot more about this network. And our time is up, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And again, if you can pull out your LinkedIn and look up BWBN, not to be confused with the Canadian NGO that goes by that same acronym, but Bloomberg Women's Buy-Side Network, join us. We would love to have you all.
Great. Thank you so much.